West Bay, and by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village. Convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. And Royal Fidelity Bank and Trust. Money at work.
In answer to his question about the subjects.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Commands Talk Today.
Oh, what a compliment. For that, I thank you.
What is happening now? There are hopeless and hungry.
Now it's time for us to stand up for God or we fall to nothing.
It's time now for Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Listen to the general public, what the public is saying.
Good afternoon, listening audience. Welcome to Radio Cayman's Talk Today. I'm Michael McLaughlin, sitting in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. We've got several young ladies that we're going to be talking to very shortly, all about Miss Teen Cayman Islands. So we hope that you will stay tuned for that information and opportunity to answer all your questions right here on Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Live Communication.
Let your voice be heard.
Radio Commands Talk Today.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. In studio with us this afternoon are 4 contestants, and we'll be speaking with 4 more very shortly for Miss Teen Cayman Islands 2021-2022. And we're going to go around the table here now and find out who is in studio with me presently and a little bit of information about them. I'm going to start on my left. Which is, good afternoon, dear. Can you introduce yourself to our listening audience, please?
Hello, everyone. I am Deshanti McLaughlin Richards, contestant number 4, and my platform is anti-bullying.
Anti-bullying from Deshanti. Okay, and next we have?
Good afternoon, Cayman Islands. I am Destiny Daly, contestant number 3. I am 17 years old, proudly representing West Bay. And my platform is mental health well-being.
Mental health and well-being. And next we have?
Good afternoon, Cayman. My name is Leah Robinson. I am contestant number 2 in the Miss Teen Cayman Islands 2021 pageant. I am proudly representing Georgetown. My platform is youth empowerment. I currently attend University College of the Cayman Islands, pursuing my bachelor's degree in human resources with a minor in marketing as well as management.
Very good. And?
Hello, Cayman Islands. I am your contestant number 1, 15-year-old Nia Mothin, and I am proudly representing my family's hometown, the beautiful district of Bordentown. I am a trilingual violinist, and I am a senior student at Cayman Prep and High School.
And what's your platform?
My platform is sexual assault awareness.
Sexual assault and awareness. Wow. Well, if you are listening out there, right now, I'm sure you can already hear that these ladies are very composed and they've already got their platforms. So they are preparing themselves as they move forward in life, just not only as ladies, but also possible representatives of the Cayman Islands as a Miss Teen, as well as maybe you'll go on even further and be Miss Cayman, Miss Universe. Who knows what the future holds. So as we talk to you today, Let's explore a little bit why did you all choose to join Miss Teen? Who wants to go first?
The reason I chose to join Miss Teen is because it gives you many opportunities. It gives you opportunities of creating friendships and a sisterhood, and also exploration opportunities. Like on Saturday, we had the opportunity to do an island cultural tour where we visited many historic sites. And for me, it was my first time going to the National Museum, so that was very exciting. And I'm also an older sister, so when I became a big sister, I knew I had to take on the responsibility of being a role model to my younger sister. So I've always kind of had that kind of leadership skill in me.
Excellent. So I'm sure you will be developing that even more.
Definitely.
And Destiny, what's brought you into this realm?
I decided to join the pageant because I wanted to come out of my comfort zone.
Okay.
I am also very excited for the empowerment and the training to becoming a wonderful and established young woman.
Excellent. Excellent. And Leah?
I've joined this pageant to initially grow as an individual, as well as,
What else?
I guess is to refine my skills that I already know, such as public speaking and I guess how to walk and whatnot. We also, as Nia briefly touched on, Saturday we went to a cultural tour and we learned about the history of Cayman Islands, which is such an important, thing to know about and learn about.
Very much so. Very much so. Extremely important thing to know about. And let's hear what Deshanti has to say.
I personally joined Miss Teen Cayman Islands to be able to spread awareness of my platform of anti-bullying, as I feel that it is something that is overlooked and should be taken seriously. I also joined and took this opportunity to be able to gain personal experience and skills, as this pageant is like not any other, but it allows females to grow as an individual and learn the skills needed for everyday life.
Excellent. Well, as you have mentioned it, why do you feel that bullying is something that's not paid attention to?
Because anytime the topic is brought up, it is seen as something that children it is normalized, as in children are supposed to go through it. It makes them stronger. It builds character development, but I feel that that is not true. I feel like it should be prevented.
Excellent. Excellent. I appreciate that perspective. And that kind of leads straight into Destiny, seeing as your platform is mental health and well-being. What are your opinions from your platform with regard to either that subject or others? Why did you choose mental health and well-being?
I chose this as my platform because I feel like within the Cayman Islands, not only is there a stigma around mental health, but once someone's mental health deteriorates, everybody kind of alienates them. And as Ashanti was saying, sometimes people see bullying as something that everybody just goes through. And to be quite honest, if someone has to go through bullying, I feel like they should be able to have coping strategies or assistance from people within the community so that their mental health does not have to deteriorate. Because the truth is, we all may experience deterioration of our mental health, but there are strategies and there is resources to help us.
Excellent. Okay, and you guys have all the right topics here that move from one into the next. So, Miss Leah, your topic is youth empowerment.
Yes.
Talk to us about your
platform. The reason that I chose this topic was because I feel as though it's going to give the youth of the Cayman Islands building blocks towards their future. Okay. So it's categorized into 4 steps. So L is for learning. What I did was I reached out to people within the community for them to send me videos and I guess to give the youth an insight of what programs and initiatives that they've been a part of. Mm-hmm. The second step was educating. So that was me going into schools, having some one-on-one time with the students, having them ask me questions. How exactly do I build, my resume, or how exactly do I speak publicly? And then the next step was awareness. Uh-huh. So that was essentially reaching out to people within the community again, for them to highlight the youth of the Cayman Islands. Okay. It's a way in which we're going to make the community aware that, hey, these youths are really doing amazing things. And then the last step was harnessing. This is basically, in a sense, creating a project for the youth of the Cayman Islands to do. Yep.
Very interesting. For those of you listening out there that you may not have picked up on, Leah has used her actual initials from her name to form the acronym for her platform: learning, empowerment, Awareness and harnessing. Excellent. And then we come around to Nia, whose platform is sexual awareness.
Sexual assault awareness.
Sexual assault awareness. I can't read my own handwriting. I do apologize. Okay. Tell us about your platform.
I'm a proud advocate for sexual assault awareness, and I hope to improve the lives of those impacted by sexual assault awareness. I think that it's important that our community come to realize that sexual assault is an issue that does happen here, because people have a tendency to believe, since we live on such a small island, that stereotypically those things don't happen here, or those things only happen in America, which is not true, because I've seen first-handedly girls I know and women close to me, my family, be domestically violated. And that's the reason why my platform is so near and dear to my heart, because it personally affects me. And society may ask, well, why doesn't she just leave, like an abusive relationship? Why doesn't she just leave? And it's not that easy, given that approximately 75% of women are murdered after trying to leave their partners. And other reasons include degradation and humiliation, distorted perspectives and guilt, and economic dependence. And it's not that easy. And for some of these women, they see no way out, they see no alternative, and that is the sad reality that we unfortunately live in.
Wow. You young ladies are astounding me with your preparation of your platforms. This is absolutely wonderful to hear. We do have to take a short commercial break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned to Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Census 2021. Came and get ready. Census starting 10th of October 2021. Census. Papa, are you ready? Census. Mama will be counted. Census. Children and toddlers. Census 2021. Census. Information is secret. Census 2021. Census. Starting October 10th. 2021. Census 2021. Census. Census.
What do you do if you have to go to a shelter? To help you safely prepare, evacuate, and shelter while protecting yourself and others from COVID-19 this hurricane season, here's some tips from the Public Health Department. If you must go to a shelter, be ready to protect yourself and others. Practice social distancing of at least 6 feet from others. Follow public health's preventative actions. Wash your hands with soap and water, often if possible, or use hand sanitizer, cover coughs and sneezes, and wear masks or cloth face coverings. Get your COVID-19 vaccine when eligible. Avoid sharing food and drink with anyone. For more guidance to update your emergency hurricane plans due to coronavirus, visit www.caymanprepared.gov.ky. This message is brought to you by the Public Health Department in partnership with the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Radio Cayman's Talk Today. Michael McLaughlin sitting in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. In studio with me, if you're just joining us, are the Miss Teen 2021-2022 contestants. And these young ladies are very composed. These are the first four of 9 contestants that we'll be actually talking to today. And we have been speaking with Nia, Leah, Destiny, and Deshanti. And during the break, we were discussing a little bit about how you all are feeling about things right now. And if you think you're nervous, now wait, you've got even more nerves to contend with as you continue to prepare. But you're doing an excellent job. Well done so far. So we were talking just a moment ago about the fact that you brought up that you did a cultural tour over the weekend. Who's going to give me a little something about what you enjoyed most about that cultural tour and why?
I'll go.
Okay.
Okay, so first of all, every year when the Miss Teen pageant is going on, they have something where all the contestants be able to be a part of the cultural tour. You know, not only do we live here, but we can learn about the history and know how far we've come and where we've gotten. And personally, out of all of the places that we visited last Saturday for the cultural tour, I truly admired the Pedro St. James Castle because I learned way more than I could have ever imagined. And we had a lovely tour guide, Mr. Eden. He's amazing. He practically knows everything.
Well, his family is tied to Pedro St. James.
Yes,
so,
sir.
yeah, it's amazing that we have that resource right there. It's an amazing place, and he is a very interesting individual, isn't he?
He is.
Absolutely. And who's next?
So,
Okay.
well, my top place that we went to was the turtle farm.
Okay.
Learning about how exactly I really didn't even know that they have like a little section in which they, place the turtle eggs back into in the front of a hotel.
Right.
And basically that's also a tourist attraction as well, people coming out to actually see the turtles hatching and going out into the water. I thought it was such an incredible, thing that they're doing. And basically they reached out to us with ways in which that we can take part in that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's very, very intriguing, isn't it? And the turtle farm has been around for such a long time and plays such an important part of our history and even where we're going in the future. Who's next?
My favorite part of the tour was going to the National Gallery.
Mm-hmm.
I've only been there once, so when we went, that was my second time. And, we got to visit the different buildings, and each building had different types of art pieces. And I just thought it was astonishing to see how different artists express themselves in their paintings.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to learn about their paintings, their little descriptions beside the paintings, so you got to read, and we took a lot of pictures, and it was really fun.
Yeah, art in general is very, very different because it's all whatever it is that you perceive from an individual's piece of art. And I think it's interesting too when you read the little description next to it. It's trying to give you some sort of insight into what the artist was thinking when they created it. I always find it fun to try and understand what their description is, and then I start figuring out for myself. I'm like, well, what do I see in it?
Sometimes it's the complete opposite of what you're thinking.
Completely different than how it's being presented, isn't it? Okay, and next?
I have to agree with Nia. I do enjoy the National Gallery artwork.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite part of it was basically the journey between the artworks. So from the top floor where the collection was from years ago, and it started off with more painting on anything basically that they could, and then we got to watercolor, and then we slowly came into some graphics, photography, and then the bottom floor of the National Gallery was mainly dedicated to more sculptural pieces. And I found it so interesting how artwork in the Cayman Islands has came such a long way from where it began. Not to mention the theme of the collection was very now. It was about sustainability, future evolution. And I think it really touched me, to be honest, because not only was it visible within the artworks, but walking through all of the collections, it just tied everything together.
Very, very interesting, isn't it? Especially the topic, as you said, as to what it is that's going on in society right now and what we should be doing to help prepare our country for the future. Exactly what you all are doing. You're helping to prepare us for the future because you, as you move forward, no matter what the outcome of the Miss Teen contest does, it's actually helping you to prepare yourself as to where you're going to take us in the future. Who wants to talk to me about what their future plans are? Somebody's
I'll
got
go ahead.
to. Okay.
I'm very passionate about being an educator for the Cayman Islands.
Okay. Why?
Because the youth are so important. It's where we're going. It's where we are. So I feel like becoming an educator for the Cayman Islands will help me be able to personally assist the youth of the Cayman Islands to become their best selves. Not only better themselves, but be able to take care of themselves, including their mental health and physical. And I feel like within the Cayman Islands, education has came a long way, and I would just be so honored to be a part of that journey and to be able to see a student for like how many years later and like just so happy to say that I helped them to reach where they are now.
Excellent. My mom is an ex-teacher, and it always astounds me how many people remember their interaction with her, as well as how many students she actually remembers. Calls me by the wrong name, but she remembers all the students. No. Anyway, so who's next? What do you think about the future? Go ahead.
So initially for my platform, I didn't even purposely do this, but we started a program with the Lighthouse School of Grand Cayman.
Excellent.
It's a student leadership program.
Yes.
So this is going to continue on even after my pageant, you know? So essentially I would go into the Lighthouse and present on various topics in relation to student leadership. So today, I'm just coming from presentation. We did it about respect. And I mean, interacting with these kids are absolutely amazing. So what I plan to do is hopefully getting this program, this little program, out to more schools. Hopefully reaching out to the schools in Cayman Brac and, you know, getting it where it's supposed to be and probably getting some other students to join in. Because I feel like what better way to interact and communicate with kids than using kids, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. There you go.
Yeah.
Nice perspective. I like that.
So I hope to really, you know, set this off, get it started.
Sounds like you're heading in the right direction.
Yes, sir.
Next.
I'll go.
Okay.
As I continue to spread awareness of my platform of anti-bullying, I hope to encourage others to be kind to one another, as together we can do great things.
Okay. Have you experienced bullying?
Yes, sir, I have.
Oh, that's not
and
nice.
The truth is, everyone has, but
That's
it
true.
impacts us differently.
So, with bullying, since this is your platform, have you given any consideration to how you speak to others? Because bullying takes on many, many different forms, doesn't it?
Yes, sir, it does. And I've come to the fact to notice that before you want to see the change within the world, you have to first be the change within yourself.
Wow, sounds like a Michael Jackson song. Man in the mirror, right? There you go. And?
So as I advocate and use my platform, I want to encourage survivors to know that they are important enough to draw boundaries around their body and to know what someone can and can't do to their body. To their body. I think sexual abuse and sexual harassment and domestic violence are all problems that do happen here, but they go on to be overlooked and they're really sensitive, which is why we should continue to put forward justice for our survivors so that we can create a violence-free community and we can all live in peace. I am a young Caymanian female who is transitioning into a woman of tomorrow, and I cannot stress the importance of protecting the women of today, the women of tomorrow, and protecting the younger generation of girls to come.
Absolutely. There's no denying that, and it's a wonderful platform. All of your platforms are absolutely fantastic and very much so commendable. I would say to you, though, that also keep in mind that with your platform, there's more than physicality. Remember that. There's the mental aspect also, and even verbal. So there's a lot of different aspects of it that many people aren't aware of. So you've got an excellent platform to help to educate people so that they can themselves change and help to be a vehicle for what it is that you're hoping to achieve.
Definitely.
Nice work. So what's next on your agenda for today? What are you guys doing? Now, you just finished coming from representing, Leah
Yes,
just
I'm
mentioned.
going back to work after this. Yep.
Okay. So you're in the employment field already?
Yes, sir. I'm doing corporate administration while finishing up my degree.
Excellent. And what's on the agenda for the other ladies here?
I also violin practice.
You've got
violin practice.
Violin practice. You're a trilingual violinist.
Yeah.
Do you speak in 3 different languages while you play the violin?
No, I meant to say I can play the violin. I'm also trilingual.
That's all right. And who else? What else is going on this afternoon?
I'm also going back to work.
Going back to work, and where are you? What are you doing?
Deloitte in Audit and Associate.
Okay. Wow. Very sharp young ladies we have around this table. And you, Miss Destiny?
I'm going to go work on some poetry.
Okay.
And then afterwards, I'm going to work at the YMCA after-school program.
Wow. Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. Are you hearing what is here in studio with me right now? Very powerful young ladies who are preparing themselves to move forward in their lives as well as to help propel the Cayman Islands to a different level and a different perspective, hopefully. I think you all are doing an excellent job so far in your presentation here today, and I do wish you all the very, very best in terms of where you are going within this competition. Now, we're going to have to take another quick break, but just before we go to that break, what else do you think you would like to talk about when we return? Think about it. We're still open to take your calls. If you are interested to find out anything specific about any of these contestants here today, reminding you that our phone number, courtesy of Flow, toll free 1-800-534-8255, or the main number 949-8037. And you can, of course, use the WhatsApp opportunity on 925-3261. We'll be right back after these messages.
Busy, busy, busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
Things just got a bit hotter on Island. Come in today and order the new spicy Korean subs at Subway. They're sweet, spicy, and especially satisfying. Stop in and try the pulled pork with spicy Korean sauce, or the chicken with spicy Korean sauce. And you can message WhatsApp at 929-4658. Order online or use Let's Eat or the Bento app. The spicy Korean subs at Subway in 2 flavors, extra saucy and extra spicy. Subway, eat fresh.
Freedom, Cayman Brac. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
As the community continues to take precautions from COVID-19, it is important to stay prepared for other disasters now that we're in the hurricane season. Here are some post-hurricane safety tips from the Department of Environmental Health. Cistern water designated for the purposes of drinking, cooking, and bathing must be disinfected before use after a hurricane. Simply leave the water for 1 minute after it begins to boil, or to disinfect with bleach, add 3 ounces of chlorine bleach to every 1,000 gallons of water. A residual bleach smell is an indicator that the water has been properly disinfected. For full guidance on post-hurricane safety tips, visit www.deh.gov.ky.
Money Sense is the only personal finance radio show and podcast in the Cayman Islands, bringing an informed financial perspective to the Cayman community. Tune into Money Sense this Thursday, 7:30 a.m. for an exclusive conversation with Grant Williams as we discuss deception and speculation in investment markets. Are prices manipulated? Are deceptive practices contributing to excessive valuations? Follow us on Twitter and tweet your questions to @MoneySenseRadio. In partnership with the CFA Society Cayman Islands and sponsored by the Cayman Islands Chamber Pension Plan. Catch Money Sense this Thursday at 7:30 a.m.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. If you're just joining us, we do have in studio currently 4 of the contestants from the Miss Teen Cayman Islands 2021-2022 that we have been speaking with. I understand we do have a caller on the line, so we're going to go to the phone right now. Good afternoon. Thank you for calling.
Good afternoon, Mr. Moderator, and let me say good afternoon to the 4 contestants. Quincy Brown speaking.
Good afternoon, Mr. Brown. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. I'm very thankful that you should take my call. And allow me to encourage all contestants to embrace this opportunity. It's more than just getting your hair done, getting your nails done. You're learning discipline. You're learning more about your culture and your country. And I would like to encourage each young lady who is vying for that Miss Teen crown to study the works of Dr. Christopher Williams, Roy Bodden, Michael Creighton, also Professor Livingston Smith, the writings of Frank Suarez Maxfield, because as young Caymanian ladies, you need to know your identity. Because many of you, once you're crowned, once you get your first runner-up, second runner-up, many of you will go on to Miss Cayman Universe and Miss Cayman World. It is so important that you embody what it is to be a strong young Caymanian woman. So I want to encourage each and every one of you to be the best that you can be, yeah?
Excellent.
I'll close by saying I'm very happy to read the news today in today's Cayman Compass that Minister of Tourism, Kenneth Bryan, is seeking to put Caymanians at the forefront of tourism. Now, many young persons, your age, young ladies, graduating from John Gray, graduating from St. Ignatius, wherever high school, graduating from UCCI, you are the young persons that need to fill these jobs in tourism because we are Caymanians. And before we invite our friends back from India and from Mexico, because they're coming back, you know, we want to make sure that our young Caymanians are filling the positions in tourism. Because when the guests start coming back to experience Caymankind, it's your smile and my smile that they want to see. I'm Quincy Brown. Have a wonderful afternoon. Thanks for taking my call.
You're most welcome. Thank you, Mr. Brown. We do appreciate your contributions and lots of very good encouragement for you ladies. He's absolutely correct. Part of the whole Miss Teen organization is that you are developing as an ambassador for the Cayman Islands, a role model and motivator towards your peers. It's geared around your personal and professional development. And all of those are combined in through your life experiences and your knowledge. And Mr. Brown is encouraging you to read some more and learn some more about existing individuals who have been literary contributors to what it is about the Cayman Islands. It's more than just a little cultural tour that you took on Saturday. There's so much more for you to know and to learn and to be able to provide others with that information. It is, I agree, completely encouraging that the minister has taken that position about encouraging individuals to be a part of the tourism sector. And I can't think of better representatives than well-cultured, refined spokesmodels such as yourselves as you continue to develop. We do have another caller online. We're going to go to them right now, and feel free to contribute to these callers as they join us today. Good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today. Thank you for your call.
Good afternoon to you, Mr. Mike.
Good afternoon to you, sir. How are you?
Just fine, thank you.
One of the young ladies here was just commenting about what a wonderful experience they had with you on Saturday.
I'm glad that she said that, and I'd just like to thank them all for coming here. It was a distinct pleasure for me, and they always come here over several years now, and each time it's thrill for me. It's interesting to see these young ladies, and they're very well spoken. And I've listened to a few of them there a while ago. I saw a few, and I can't remember all their names, of course, but it wasn't really something meant a lot to me to see young people coming out here, because our history can tend to be a little bit of boring and repetitious.
Not whenever it's presented by you, sir.
Yeah, like you were saying that. But I believe that they had a very good time here with me, and I too with them. But it was very interesting to listen to them, because when they're here with me, they say, "This old man, we don't want to hear too much." They might feel intimidated by if they want to mention what they're doing or what they intend to do, but now I can hear it, and they're so lucid with what they're saying, and everything is explained quite clearly and understandably. It's really wonderful. I can't put it in all the words I like to say, but that suggestion there by Quincy and by yourself, this is what we need: more young, sharp-minded Caymanians like them. And well-spoken, well-intelligent, and don't forget, you can speak the old Cayman way if you want. A lot of people don't.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
that's part of our beauty, right?
The old people talking. I remember my father and them, talking with his friends, the Gorins, and the... Oh, boy, it was something.
Yes, sir.
But anyhow... I'd just like to say again, all the very best to them, and thank them for coming here. And if they can stick a little bit of our history into everything that they're doing, it can come in there.
Yes, sir.
I had a lot to do with the turtle farm, doing it since infancy. We won't go into that. It's something where it meant a lot to me.
Yes, sir.
And I just like to say again, thank you for taking the call, and thank them. So whoever it was mentioned it, I did hear a part of it. Thank you very much. Wonderful, beautiful young lady.
Excellent.
Have a wonderful day, and I wish you all the very, very best.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Stacy. We appreciate that call, sir. And once again, he has all of these young ladies here are smiling broadly, sir. So they obviously enjoyed their interaction with you, and they're certainly appreciative of your encouragement as to what it is that they're doing. So while we were talking, we were mentioning a little bit about Miss Teen and when it's going to be, because that's really what everybody wants to know. When are these young ladies going to be on stage? So when is Miss Teen Cayman Islands 2021-2022 competition taking place?
It's August 28th.
August 28th.
At the Lions Center.
At the Lions Center.
Gates open at 5:30 and the show starts at 7.
Excellent. Okay.
You can purchase your tickets now.
All right.
$25 for general and $40 for VIP.
Excellent.
And children's admission is $15.
Okay. And what qualifies children? I wouldn't qualify as a
6
child.
to 12.
6 to 12.
Yes.
There's mental. Never mind. Right.
They
Okay.
can also meet us at the skate night coming up.
Yes.
Oh.
August 24th. When is
July 24th.
Oh, July 24th. Sorry, my bad.
Yes.
At King's 7:30.
It should be very exciting.
$10 entry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if I show up, nobody will be paying attention to you. I'll be too busy watching me falling all over the floor. And then you've got a motorcade coming up too.
That's in August.
Okay.
That's the week before.
Excellent.
Yeah, 21st.
So I have a question about the competition. Within the competition, you're going to be presenting yourselves. That's a physical thing in the different outfits, I'm guessing. Are you going to do different stages of...
So we have 3 sectors.
Okay.
So the first one is introduction. So we'll be wearing a casual outfit.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's talent. So some of us may have talent costumes or just a dress for your talent.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third sector is the evening gown.
Okay.
We also have an introduction dance, which
the opening dance. So
we're
currently training for that, so that should be exciting.
Okay, and everybody takes part in that introduction dance, right?
Yes. It's really fun. We got to grow together, learning how to dance.
It's a really good bonding experience for us.
Okay. It all sounds very interesting and intriguing. And you said you've got a motorcade coming up, you've got your what are you calling it? A skaterama? What is it?
Skate night.
Skate night. Skate night. For me, it would be skid night, but okay.
We also have a BRAC trip coming up too.
Do we really? Okay, you guys are going over to the BRAC.
Yes.
All right. Well, you're definitely expanding your knowledge in terms of our islands, and hopefully you'll have some special moments over there where you learn about different aspects of the BRAC itself too, because again, very important as you travel to be able to knowledgeably speak to persons about the Cayman Islands. We're very, very unique, and it is something for you to keep in mind, as Mr. Stacy was even talking about. Don't be afraid to sound like yourself, even though we do make efforts to refine ourselves in how we speak, but there is a lot of endearment in your natural tongue also. Yes. So don't lose it, but know when to use it.
Definitely.
Right?
It's important, for us as ambassadors of the Cayman Islands to actually know about the history.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was having a conversation with someone, and we were speaking about the fact that when you go off to university, should you go off to university, or if you go off to represent the Cayman Islands, keep in mind how small the Cayman Islands are. You come from a very unique little part of the world. We don't have millions of people. We literally have tens of thousands, and in comparison to many places, that makes you even more unique, because you walk around somewhere other than in the Cayman Islands, and you may encounter people from lots of different places and even multiple people from different places, but you may not encounter another Caymanian.
That is so true.
And it's something for you to keep in perspective as to how unique you are and the opportunity that is before you as individuals as you go forward and represent the Cayman Islands. Congratulations, ladies. It's been a pleasure speaking with you today. I wish you every success as you go forward in this competition. And remember that none of you are going to be in a category where you didn't achieve something. The whole purpose of this is helping you to grow and to achieve, even if you're not successful with actually wearing the crown. Everything that you do, everything that you experience is just wonderful for you to grow and to truly become incredible young ladies.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Please stay tuned, listening audience. We do have some more contestants who are going to be joining us right after the break here on Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman,
the voice,
the heart,
the soul of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
All persons receiving the Displaced Tourism Stipend have until the end of today to complete the Mandatory Tourism Stipend Survey. Government says that the objective for conducting the survey is to collect accurate data that will enable the ministry to plan for the future needs of the industry in preparation for reopening. The survey is online at stipend.ourcayman.ky and is estimated to take 15 to 20 minutes to complete. Turning to international news now, the new Israeli government suffered its first major setback in the early hours of Tuesday morning when it failed to secure enough votes to extend a regulation that effectively bars Palestinians from the West Bank and Gaza married to Israelis from becoming citizens. The coalition had agreed to amend the law to grant 1,600 Palestinians living in Israel residency visas, while allowing for a 6-month extension to find solutions for thousands of other Palestinians living in Israel. But the law failed to pass, with lawmakers voting 59 to 59 after the opposition Likud party and its allies voted against extending the ordinance in a move aimed at hurting the new coalition government, even though in principle the party supports the law. And an Austrian had the kind of morning that nightmares are made of on Monday when a python slid through his drains and bit him while he was sitting on the toilet. The stunned 65-year-old in the city of Graz turned away shortly after 6 a.m. to see a roughly 5-foot albino reticulated python in the bowl, police said in a statement. The snake, a constrictor native to Asia that can grow to more than 9 meters, that's 29 feet long, is thought to have escaped a neighbor's apartment unnoticed and slid into the toilet through the drains, though its exact route was still unclear, the police said. Its victim was treated in hospital for minor injuries. Those are your latest headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom. I'm Shanda Gallego.
For the latest in news and information,
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
We are in the hurricane season, and knowing what to do after a hurricane can be as important as preparing for the storm. After the passage of a hurricane, seek medical attention if it is needed at hospitals and clinics for those persons who are injured. Do not touch power lines and cables that are down. They may be active. Report them to 911 or the utilities emergency hotlines. Broken tree limbs should be removed from around homes or buildings if possible. This hurricane information has been brought to you by Breeze FM and Radio Cayman.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Radio Cayman's Talk Today. Michael McLaughlin sitting in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And if you are just joining us, we are continuing our talks with contestants for Miss Teen Cayman Islands 2021-2022, coming up on the 28th of August at the Lions Center. Tickets are available, so reach out to your nearest Lions member, Lions or Leo member, and you'll be able to get your tickets. I'm sure that there will be more announcements of that as we get closer to the date. But continuing on with the discussion of these contestants, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourselves so that our listening audience knows who they are listening to. And I'm going to start over here. Go ahead and tell the folks who you are, what your district is, and what is your platform.
Good afternoon. I am Lexi Gold. I am 15 years old, and I am in this year's Miss Teen Cayman Islands pageant. I am contestant number 8 from the district of Georgetown.
And what is your platform?
My platform is the environment.
Okay, excellent. And next we have...
Good afternoon, Cayman Islands. I am contestant number 7, Kiana Ebanks. I'm 16 years old, representing the vibrant district of Northside, and my platform is Youth Empowerment.
Youth Empowerment, okay. And our final individual that we're speaking to today is...
Good afternoon, Cayman. I am 17-year-old contestant number 5, residing in Georgetown. I am Isaiah Thomas, and my platform is Empowered Through Education.
Okay, wow. Well, as before with the other ladies, I am very pleased to hear the type of platforms that you ladies have chosen, and you know, the sort of aspect or perspective, I should say, that you're taking on how you want to present yourselves to the general public. Now, as I was speaking with the other ladies, I am curious to know why you chose the platforms that you have. So we're going to start in reverse order over here with Asaya. Asaya. Okay. Speak to us as to why you chose the platform of empowering through education. Is that
Empowered Through Education.
Yeah.
I chose this platform because I think that education is the gateway to a better future. When you're properly educated, you feel more powerful about yourself. When you know, like, if someone asks you a question and you know the answer, you feel great. Like, I knew the answer to that. That's all me. And I believe that everyone, no matter how old you are, you can be young, old, you should always continue learning. There's something you can always learn.
I'll add something to that. It's that whether you want to learn or not, it's more a matter of recognizing that every day you will learn something new, as long as your mind is open to being receptive.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, that's excellent. Okay, and why did you choose youth empowerment?
Youth empowerment is something that I've always been passionate about. I feel like there's so many opportunities provided to us, and I think we just need to grasp all those opportunities. Empowerment is about providing someone with the resources that they need to be successful. I am the eldest of 7 daughters, so in everything I do, I have to make sure that my sisters know that they're empowered and they have all these opportunities available to them, and that they grasp those so they can be successful in everything they do.
Oh, so you stand at the forefront of 6 others.
Yes.
You need to be empowered as you
Yes,
continue
sir.
to go forward. That's fantastic. And the environment. Why the environment?
I was inspired to choose the environment. My main focus would be to educate the community and with emphasis on teens on how to reduce their carbon footprint, whether they're starting at home or, refusing single-use plastics or even...
There's lots of different aspects of the environment that we all need to be concerned with and involving ourselves in general. Fantastic platforms that all of you have chosen to represent, and they're all so important to our lives here in the Cayman Islands as well as the world in general. How do you feel about the opportunities of where Miss Teen can take you? What would you like to say about that?
Miss Teen definitely provides us with the opportunity to have a wider reach on the community. A lot of people are looking at us, seeing what we're advocating for. That way, when we speak about something that we're passionate about, we know that we have a set amount of listeners already. There's people listening to what we're saying, and we can really get that message across.
Excellent. And Lexi?
Miss Teen has allowed me to come out of my comfort zone because normally I would see myself as a shy person. But joining this has allowed me to become more involved with my community as well.
Okay, that's great. That's good because I can see that you're making strides as we speak. What do you think?
I think Miss Teen has made me gain more confidence in myself because before this I didn't really think of myself that much, you know. And with Miss Teen, I'm going out more. I'm advocating for what I believe in. I'm doing things I wouldn't usually do. Like before Miss Teen, I never wore heels at all, and I barely wear makeup. But now I'm getting more in touch with my feminine side. I'm loving how I look. I love what I do. It's really fun.
I think it's excellent that you're exploring that side, but I also too am an advocate for those ladies who are so empowered that they don't feel they need to wear makeup or get themselves all dressed up for no reason. There's benefits on both sides of it, and I think it's fantastic that you're being educated into the right way that it is to be used.
Yes,
now, the other contestants before told me that you guys went and did a cultural tour on Saturday.
Yes,
immediately they start smiling. Okay, what did you like best of the cultural tour? How about you, Lexi?
My favorite part of the cultural tour was the trip to Pedro St. James. Our tour guide was amazing, Mr. Eden, and I thought it was amazing how closely he was related to the people who were at Pedro St. James in the time it was being used.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's a wonderful opportunity when you get to converse with someone who has a close personal connection with a place like that. You get a completely different feel for what it is that you're experiencing. Go ahead.
I feel like it is so important to be educated about our history and be in touch with that side of ourselves. I also really enjoyed Pedro St. James because it is a very historical building. And like Lexi said, Mr. Stacy was amazing. Miss Andrea made a joke about him being a walking Wikipedia.
Yeah.
He knew everything, and he really educated us, and we learned a lot of things that day.
He's a beautiful individual, and I don't know if you all were able to listen in just a little while ago. He actually called in, and he's expressing that he was very how should I put this? He really was enthused about what it is he experienced with you all when you were visiting there. And what did you enjoy most about your cultural tour?
My favorite part about the trip was visiting the Turtle Center. They actually recently changed their name to Turtle Center. I found that out on the trip from Turtle Farm. And our tour guide was very informational. For example, I never knew we had 2 different national parrots. That was just the one Cayman National Parrot, but there's also one for Cayman Brac. He showed us the incubation for the turtles, they have a tank with a glass, so you can see when the turtles crawl up in the sand cave in. It's really
amazing, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's and if I'm not mistaken, the temperature that the turtles are hatched at is what determines what gender they come out as.
Yes, I also learned that.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yes.
Absolutely. Where else did you go on your cultural tour? You went to Pedro St. James. You went to the Turtle Center. Where else did you go?
We went to the museum.
You went to the museum.
And it was very nice. It was very nice. We saw I remember the cat boat part. That was my favorite. It's the fisherman sitting on the cat boat, and it's like an automated, like animatronic guy, and it was very cool how he's moving. He looks really realistic when he's talking.
Doesn't he?
Yes.
It's pretty amazing. And there's interesting information. Go ahead, Kiana.
We also went to the National Gallery, and I really enjoyed that. There were so many pieces that were so expressive, and I really think that the artists got their message across. It was like climate change and masculinity, and there was one on interracial couples. It was really speaking, and they really, like I said, put forward what they wanted to.
Were you inspired artistically after seeing that?
I was. Recently, I've been really wanting to paint something, make something, and I just haven't been feeling creative enough. But I know that when I was in there, I was actually like, yes, I'm going to do something.
Well, I would continue to encourage you to explore that. There are many different sides of being artistic, and it doesn't necessarily have to be painting or drawing. There's lots of different aspects of it, so do explore it, because when you start exploring your artistic side, you really grow exponentially, more than just your life experiences from who you see and who you speak to. Once you start finding an ability to express yourself through some art form, it's really an empowering experience.
Yes, sir.
And where else? What else?
They basically covered it, but the National Gallery really stood out to me with the artworks that they had, with I think it was people who live here and how they brought out their feelings towards certain stuff. It was really encouraging.
Very, very interesting things, isn't it? We were speaking about that earlier with the other contestants, and comparing the little description next to the pieces about what it was. Were there any ones in particular that were of interest to you that made you think a little bit more than another? No?
There was a sculpture, and it was a dolphin with like a net over it, like it was trapped in the net, and it was based on something that actually happened. They did find, no, it wasn't a dolphin, it was a shark. They did find a shark caught in the net, and the artist actually used the same net that was there. And I think that really spoke to me about how we consume different things and how we don't really, some people don't have regard for the other life out there.
Wow. Now there is definitely a statement that you just made, young lady. Keep that thought, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back here on Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette, brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
When the storm of 32 struck Cayman Brac, records show it did so with 200-mile-per-hour winds, with waves washing atop of the bluff. Although shielded from the major winds at first, once the eye of the storm had passed and the winds turned, the island was hit from the north, where nearly all of the houses were situated. When the storm passed, all of the houses were destroyed, all provisions lost, and 108 losses of life accounted for in Cayman Brac alone, not to mention the trauma that the survivors had to endure, including post-traumatic stress, gastrointestinal cases, polluted water, and insufficient food. But out of chaos grew a sense of harmony as people forgot their differences and worked together to overcome the disaster. Although having been hit hard, Grand Cayman sent materials and manpower without pay, and the Sister Islanders selflessly cooperated to rebuild their islands.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette, brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
a caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
The Needs Assessment Unit is extending its NAU is in our district initiative until the end of the year. To get NAU advice and support in your district, please take note of the following walk-in dates and locations for July. Easton Civic Center from 9 a.m. until 11:30 a.m. and Northside Public Library from 1 p.m. until 3:30 p.m. happening on Friday, July 9th. Bordentown Public Library on Friday, July 16th from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. and West Bay Public Library on Friday, July 23rd from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. To contact the Needs Assessment Unit in Grand Cayman, call 946-0024 or 948-8758 in Cayman Brac.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us here on Talk Today. Michael McLaughlin sitting in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And if you're just joining us, we have been talking with contestants for the Miss Teen Cayman Islands 2021-2022, which is coming up on August the 28th. And the tickets are currently available through your Lions and Leo Club members. And we have in studio with us currently Asaya Thomas, Kiana Ebanks, and Lexi Gould. Gould?
That's right.
Okay, great. Way to go, Michael. I got a little gold star for saying that right. Okay, so we have been talking with these ladies and speaking about what your experiences have been so far. And I'd like to know a little bit from each of you about what you find most exciting about being involved with Miss Teen. We're going to start with you, Lexi. What do you find most exciting about Miss Teen?
Well, the opportunity to be a part of a Miss Teen contestant, I find that very, like I want to congratulate myself. Toastmasters, we do Toastmasters training, and I feel that I am bettering myself in public speaking to others, because it's a weakness of mine. Yeah,
well, it's something you need to get stronger. Doesn't necessarily have to be a weakness, because it is something that we all try our best to develop, and it's a really good thing for you to have, because as your abilities grow, as you continue through your whole process of being groomed as young ladies, it's something that will serve you really, really well as you continue on in your life. It's interesting that you feel that you are not good in terms of public arena when you just finished mentioning to me that you are a basketball player and you had to leave your little trip early on Saturday to go and compete. That's something that puts you out front in people's eyes. So that's something for you to keep in mind too. You're already being empowered and you don't even realize it. Excellent. Okay, and Kiana, what do you think excites you most about the Miss Teen competition?
I'm excited to advance my skills. Miss Teen, the whole process is teaching us so many things. Like Lexi said, public speaking, it's increasing our confidence. We're learning etiquette and walking and how to structure speeches and how to communicate with people, and I think that's what I'm most excited for. Excellent.
Well, your siblings, all 6 of them behind you, are going to learn. They're going to benefit a lot from what you learn. Yes, that's excellent. And Asaya.
What I love so far about being Miss Teen is the sisterhood.
Okay.
We always help each other out no matter what. If someone forgot makeup, someone else can cover you. If you need an extra pair of heels, someone else has you. We always support each other. We have each other's backs during our shows when we are during training, we give each other tips. It's really nice to have people you can depend on in this competition.
That's great. It's building an even bigger family than you thought you had before.
Yes.
It's beautiful, beautiful. So as you continue to grow as a group, have you been learning about others within your group, their likes and dislikes, and how close attention do you pay to that?
Well, I also play basketball, and like Lexi recently played basketball, so there'd be trainings. We'd be like, I really wish I could go to this basketball game, and we like talk about it. And because there was a tournament happening that we couldn't go, but I'd say if how do I explain this? Like there were like Saturdays where she couldn't go, so I had to keep her up to date on the games, what were happening.
Nice.
Yes.
And what about other things that you have learned about other contestants? What do you find interesting? Is there anything that has stood out for you as you have interacted with your various counterparts?
How closely our personalities are.
Really?
Like, we just bond so well.
That's great. That's great. It's important that you all support each other as you continue along this journey. So how, as you're being groomed as an ambassador for the Cayman Islands, what do you feel through your platform that you would like to begin communicating to people out there about your platform? Because as an ambassador, you have this platform. The reason for the platform is to help try and educate the general public about this platform and why it's important to you. So how about you, Kiana? What do you think you would like to share?
I want to bring awareness to the opportunities provided on island for us to expand our horizons and become more successful. I feel like there's so many opportunities provided that are overlooked by our youth, and I think that those are really necessary into making us better people and advancing us.
Excellent. Okay. And Asaya?
I like to say that there is no such thing as too much education. For example, I used to attend 2 schools, but I just finished going to Cayman Islands Further Education Center. I do construction, actually.
What?
I want to be an architect or a construction manager when I get older. I know.
Okay.
So even though I was in 2 schools, I feel like I was managing my time well. I feel like I was learning a lot for a 17-year-old. So I want to say that there's no such thing as too much education.
Okay, and what about those young people out there if you're like, nah, man, I don't feel like studying, man?
I feel like you should try. Okay, you shouldn't give up because you might learn something that will make you better in the future. Just knowing that one fact could change the whole course of your life.
I think it's important for your platform that young people recognize that sometimes you may be learning about something that may not really be of interest to you, but it's still something that you're learning, and it is something that will show some sort of benefit to you. I mean, it's one of the things when I was going to school and we were taking physics and chemistry, I'm like, when am I ever going to use this in life? And it's funny how as you grow older, you understand where little aspects of that actually come into play in your daily life, and you don't recognize it at the time because it just doesn't seem possible. Even when we were doing music class, it's like, man, I really need to learn those notes. Now, don't get me wrong, I am not a musician, but it helped me to appreciate music more because of what I had learned. Okay, and Miss Lexi, what do you think you would like to communicate to the listening audience about your platform of environment?
My desire would be to educate the community and raise awareness with emphasis on teens because we are the future of tomorrow, to reduce our carbon footprint. There's many ways we can do that. I want to become an architect. I would love to go away and study architecture and come back and design eco-friendly buildings for the Cayman Islands. So I believe that teens are not, they don't see it as a problem that we are directly faced with. So I would love to educate the community and teens on the environment.
You're absolutely correct. There are many people, not just young people, but older people as well, that don't really appreciate how much of what we do on a day-to-day basis that affects our environment. And I think that all of your platforms, even the young ladies who were in here before, it's absolutely amazing and so vitally important that people understand all of these different aspects. So I really encourage you, as you get your opportunity, to be able to speak at length about whatever it is that you feel so impassioned about, that you have chosen as your platform. Because every opportunity that you get to speak to someone, whether they have an interest in it or not, you will help to have them learn something. As we just mentioned a little while ago, every opportunity is there for you to help educate someone on how they can improve on what it is that's actually taking place currently. So I know that the other contestants had mentioned that there's a skate night coming up. Now, you were speaking about having to wear heels all the time. How do you feel about wearing roller skates?
I will most likely be on the floor.
Well, take it from experience. That's a good place to start. There's no two ways about it. Have any of you roller skated before?
I have, but not in many years. So
Okay.
I'm probably going to be joining Isaiah on the floor.
Well, prepare yourself for that factor. And what else do you guys have coming up that you're excited about, that's part of your whole progression through this competition?
Well, the dance trainings are really something to look forward to. Dance is really a way for us to all bond together.
Okay.
And the jokes in dance, they're great.
Right. Okay. And what about the sashing of you guys? What can you talk to me about that? Tell us, help everybody understand out there who's never been involved, help them to understand about that.
Well, for the sashing ceremony, we'll be at the governor's house, and it's where our sponsor and one of our parents come with us, and they put a sash on us with the company's name.
Okay.
And we give a short speech about us, our platform, saying thank you to the company for helping us further our journey in this
Okay. So when is the sashing ceremony taking place?
July 13th.
July 13th. It's around the corner? Yeah. Who's nervous about that?
No.
Not really,
Not
but
really,
kind
no.
of, sort of. Okay. And that's going to be at the governor's house, you said?
Yes, sir.
July the 13th. At what time?
It starts at 6, but
Okay.
we're supposed to arrive at 5:30.
Okay. And you probably start getting fixed up from Friday evening. Excellent. So you'll be there, your sponsors will be there, and I'm sure that there's a long list of sponsors that we're not going to get into right now because that would take up a whole segment, I'm sure. But we do want to say thank you to all the sponsors who continue to support you young ladies as you continue on this journey. It's so important. So thank you, sponsors, because you are helping these young ladies to truly step up and step beyond what their norms are and step outside themselves, as Miss Lexi has mentioned, and help to grow in this whole arena of becoming young women and young ladies and ambassadors for the Cayman Islands. Are any of you currently members of the Leo Club?
No, sir.
No? Are any of you thinking about joining Service Club as you continue to go through this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Why would you want to join a service club as you continue to go through this?
It's a way to give back to our community.
Okay. And that's important.
That's very important.
Why is it important?
It's important because they do so much for us. We don't necessarily see what they do for us on a day-to-day basis, but it's really a great thing to give back.
Anybody else want to contribute anything to that?
Mostly the community service that is done. Like, they clean up the streets. I think they helped paint the yellow parts of the road. I'm not sure what it's called.
It's okay. I'm not sure what it's called either, but it's okay.
I know, and just everything they do is like nonprofit. It's for a good cause. It's to help the country, and I really appreciate that.
Okay. Kiana, you want to offer anything to that?
I agree with that the community service to clean up our island, make it a better place, I think that's very important.
Okay. Well, excellent. Once again, I want to say thank you so much to you young ladies for coming in today and helping our listening audience to become aware of you and for them to look out for you in your upcoming motorcades and the sashing ceremony and all those sorts of things. I wish you all the very best. I hope that you continue to pursue this so that you can truly continue as ambassadors and representatives of the Cayman Islands. I want to thank you folks for joining us. We are going to take a small break and we will be back shortly here on Radio Cayman.
Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Want to continue your education but don't have the money? UCCI has more than $100,000 in new scholarships, but you need to apply by July 16th. You may qualify for up to $4,000 per year, depending on your area of study. Several new scholarships are targeted at students with financial need. The money is there, but the deadline is approaching fast. Visit ucci.edu.ky/financial aid. Call 623-8224 or visit the on-campus one-stop center for more information.
The Tuesday and Thursday edition of The Business Buzz is brought to you by Cayman Medical Supplies, providing quality pharmaceuticals, medical supplies, and consumer products to healthcare providers, retailers, and ultimately the patients at a reasonable rate in a friendly, caring, and timely manner. Cayman Medical Supplies is located at number 93 Smith Road, Windward Center. Telephone 949-6211.
According to the Standards in Public Life Act, which of these categories of people are required to file a declaration of interest? A. Members of Parliament. B. Chief Officers and Deputy Chief Officers. C. Government Department, Section or Unit Heads and their deputies. D. CEOs of statutory authorities and government companies. Or E. Members of government bodies of statutory authorities and government companies. The answer is all of them. For these persons, declarations must be submitted between 1st of July and 30th of July 2021 using the new online portal. For more information or to see the full list of individuals required under the Act to submit a declaration, visit standardsinpubliclifecommission.ky.
Remember to discard all fresh fruits and vegetables, meats, all foods in canisters, dented, leaking or rusting cans after they have come in contact with flood water. Also discard foods that are stored in cardboard boxes, paper foil, cellophane, and cloth, as well as those in open containers and packages. For more post-hurricane food safety tips, visit DEH website at deh.gov.ky.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Radio Cayman's Talk Today. Michael McLaughlin sitting in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. If you are just joining us, we now have in studio representatives from the Health Services Authority, Therapy Services, if I've got that all correct. It's quite a mouthful. And I'd like to go around the table and ask you ladies to introduce yourselves so that our listening audience will know who is here. I'll start over here. If you may, ma'am, may we know who you are, please?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Raquel Smith, and I'm the Therapy Services Manager.
You're the manager. Okay.
Yes.
And next we have?
Good afternoon. My name is Stephanie Ming York. I am one of the physiotherapists with HSA.
And a physiotherapist. And next we have?
My name is Faith Gailey. I'm no stranger, I think, to the listeners. I am one of the speech and language therapists with the Health Services Authority.
Okay. And finally we have Miss Shy herself, which is?
I am Virginia Barnes, and I'm one of the physiotherapists at HSA.
Okay, excellent. Well, welcome all, ladies. We appreciate you joining us today. So, you're here to talk about Health Services Authority Therapy Services. I think I need some speech help.
No
hook
problem.
me up or what?
I'll hook you up, don't worry.
All right. Okay, so what would you like our audience to know about Health Services Authority services?
Thank you for having us.
You're most welcome.
So, first of all, I want to say that therapy services includes speech language therapy, occupational therapy, and physiotherapy. And today we want to talk about some of our less known services. Most persons know that physiotherapists treat neck pain and back pain, and you know that
all
Faith
kinds
works
of pain
with speech.
Yep.
But we want to highlight those services that people say, "Oh, I had no idea they did that."
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm.
So we're covering all aspects of the body from therapy services. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, and focusing on those that persons may not be familiar with.
Okay.
That's our primary focus
all right.
today.
And sorry, you feel that the areas that folks may not be familiar with are?
We're going to get into that right now.
Oh, okay.
So, Faith will be speaking to speech as well as occupational therapy today. So, Faith, just maybe a brief synopsis of our more familiar services and then highlight those ones that persons may not be aware of.
Sure, and we're so excited as a team about the rebranding under therapy services because I think in the past, people just knew our department as physiotherapy, but it was a bit misleading because we are a multidisciplinary team. So we're celebrating the name and using it as an opportunity to highlight all of the therapies that we offer at HSA, not only physio, but all of the other allied or adjunctive health services.
Oh boy, I don't know if I qualify to hear that word.
Autism.
That's quite a word.
So we offer speech and occupational therapy at HSA Therapy Services Department. And so for occupational therapy, we offer both pediatric, so for children, as well as for adults. So for children, our pediatric occupational therapist, or OT for short, works with children who have fine motor delays. So that speaks a lot about your hands, your fingers, the strength, your dexterity. They also work with sensory difficulties, visual perceptual difficulties. So am I aware of my body in space? Am I aware of the judging distances and that sort of thing? And they also work with handwriting difficulties, anything to do with the sensory or anything to do with your quote-unquote occupation. So for children, that's anything that's impairing them from engaging in play, which is how children learn, or preventing them from engaging in their schoolwork. That's where the pediatric occupational therapist comes in and supports. And they work along with the pediatric multidisciplinary team to provide holistic care for those more complex patients who need a little bit of everything. For our adult OT, she provides care in inpatients, so patients who are admitted on the ward, so that need acute services. She also provides outpatient services and home visits for those who are bedbound or homebound. And so for adult occupation, that could be anything from just your activities of daily living or your ADLs. So that's, your grooming, brushing your teeth, combing your hair, those sort of things, feeding yourself, take any of your household activities that you need, your fine motor skills, your cognitive planning skills. She can assist with that. And so she also helps with adaptive equipment. So sometimes people, because of the impairment that they've acquired, they may need some specialized equipment, like a specialized medical bed or a walker, a shower chair that's going to help them engage in that day-to-day activities. And that's where the occupational therapist can also support. And just like with PEDS, part of the adult multidisciplinary team. So providing that holistic wraparound team-based service for patients who require multiple levels of input from various providers. So that's occupational therapy.
Wow. It's amazing to me as I listen to you how much of that I'm sure your average ordinary person just doesn't think about.
Yes.
I mean, we all just get up every day and you go about your life as per normal, from the very act of getting yourself out of bed and moving to the bathroom to wash your face or brush your teeth or anything like that. Those very basic aspects that I'm sure many of us don't even think about, and there are people out there who are challenged with that for many, many different reasons. And as we're learning right now, there is some place where they can get assistance and help with that sort of thing.
Absolutely. And I mean, our goal as a team is to help people return to a good quality of life and get as functional of life as possible in terms of functional independence. So I'll just touch quickly on speech because I know time is of the essence. But we do pediatrics, and I think a lot of people are very familiar with pediatric speech therapy in that we work with children who may have articulation delays, lisps. You know, in Cayman, you often hear about people with tight tongue. Those are the things that we work with. We also work with stuttering or stammering, children who are late talkers or who have language delays, developmental delays, maybe due to a syndrome or disorder like autism spectrum disorder is a hot one that I think a lot of people are more aware of in our community now. So our pediatric speech therapists work a lot with those populations, but we also have significant training and speciality in pediatric feeding disorders, which is something that we're seeing a lot in our community of children who have complex medical needs. Maybe they've been tube fed for an extended period of time. They need to learn how to eat. They need to learn how to swallow, or maybe due to their disorder like autism or something else that they have these increased level of aversions or increased level of allergies where they're having difficulties with feeding. Our pediatric team is trained in SOS, and both our pediatric OT and our speech therapy is trained in the sensory oral sequential model, which is an evidence-based model that helps children work through those issues so that they can participate in something as simple as enjoying a meal with their family and mommy and daddy not having to make something separate for the child at every meal, which is something we take for granted, but we're seeing more and more. So our team is specially trained in that. We also do a lot of support with augmentative and alternative communication. So for some children, they may not be able to speak for whatever reason. And so we realize that communication is a human right, and so we help them communicate using alternative methods. So, you know, instead of pushing and they're not talking, that's just not connecting. But a lot of times those children have a lot to say, so we use picture communication, sign language, devices, any method that that child is receptive to, we use those methods to help facilitate communication.
Great.
And then for our adults, we do similar to the OT, inpatient as well as homebound and outpatient, and I work with voice, motor speech disorders, so like apraxia or dysarthria, which usually is a result of a stroke or a neurogenic disorder. We do dysphagia treatment, so patients who've had a stroke, sometimes they lose their ability to swallow, or patients have had cancer, vocal nodule issues, anything that can impair that swallow. I'm McNeil dysphagia, the McNeil dysphagia therapy protocol certified, which I'm the only one in the region that has that qualification. So that's something that we're able to offer like our post-cancer patients to help them get back to eating and come off the tube, which again just helps have better quality of life. We also work with families who have patients with dementia. They lose that communication. We help them to try to maintain that cognition and that communication function as much as possible. And palliative care, I mean, you name it, we work with it.
Well, I'm glad that there's more to talk about, because we are going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back to cover all of those topics and probably more right here on Radio Cayman.
Busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences. At Subway, we know a meal isn't quite complete without a side, and that's why we're introducing waffle fries. Subway's waffle fries are oven-baked softness with extra crispy edge, giving a satisfying taste to be enjoyed as is or in any of Subway's dipping sauces. Order waffle fries as a side item for $2 or make it a meal deal. Subway, eat fresh.
Want your kids to gain social skills, independence, self-confidence indoors? King Sports Center Art of Fun Summer Camp is the solution. Make memories, learn new skills and life skills. Activities include basketball, football, dodgeball, arts and crafts, squash, drama, kids aerobics, bowling, and much more. King Sports Center Art of Fun Summer Camp will be held from July 6th through August 6th. Monday to Friday from 8:30 a.m. until 5 p.m. Camp includes all activities, 1 lunch, and 2 breaks. For more information, call 946-5464 or email kings@candw.ky. Your one-stop facility for fitness, recreation, relaxation.
Money Sense is the only personal finance radio show and podcast in the Cayman Islands, bringing an informed financial perspective to the Cayman community. Tune into Money Sense this Thursday, 7:30 a.m. for an exclusive conversation with Grant Williams as we discuss deception and speculation in investment markets. Are prices manipulated? Are deceptive practices contributing to excessive valuations? Follow us on Twitter and tweet your questions to @MoneySense Radio. In partnership with the CFA Society Cayman Islands and sponsored by the Cayman Islands Chamber Pension Plan. Catch Money Sense this Thursday at 7:30 a.m.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public could say.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Radio Cayman's Talk Today. Michael McLaughlin sitting in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. If you're just joining us, in studio currently we have representatives from the therapy services of the Health Services Authority. As we have been educated, it's a new moniker that you are now carrying under therapy services.
Yes.
And we do have our manager of these services, Raquella Smith, who is going to now help educate us a little bit more about why you're here and what you want people to know.
Okay, so Faith did a brief synopsis, thank you, Faith, of speech and occupational therapy. We'll now turn our attention to physiotherapy. And just to back up a bit, we are a team of 2 OTs, soon to be 3 speech-language therapists and 15 physiotherapists. And coming from over 8 countries, from South Africa through to India. So
Wow.
it's a great team to work with.
That's actually one of the questions I had as Faith
really?
was speaking about how many therapists you actually have, because in many ways you spoke of it in a singular fashion. I'm like, there's no way one person is doing all of that. It's just not physically possible. So that's good to know. So there's 2
occupational therapists. We'll soon have 3 speech-language therapists, and we have 15 physiotherapists on staff.
Wow. Okay.
In addition to our support staff as well.
Excellent. And how soon will the 3rd speech therapist be joining you?
We are hopeful for mid-August.
Okay. So there's
All
currently
things
2.
being equal.
There's currently 2, and
Correct.
you're looking to add a 3rd.
Correct.
Excellent. Okay.
With planned expansion with support from our senior management team.
Okay. Well, I know that, but one of the things my son was interested in studying when he went overseas was physiotherapy. And he quickly learned that was a lot of work, and he decided to choose a different major. So I appreciate what you all are speaking about, to have pursued this career to the point where you are assisting others. It takes a lot of hard work and dedication and a lot of education. So with that, I think you want to talk a little bit about...
Right. So most persons will stop me in the supermarket and say, oh, my back, it's hurting, because they know about that we treat back pain and neck pain. But today we want to focus in more on those areas that people may not be as familiar with. So the next time they see me in Foster's, they'll come up and they'll ask me about, for example, our amputee rehabilitation that we do.
Okay.
And, this is for persons who have lost a limb.
Sure.
And we work with an overseas prosthetist who will come down, of course, with COVID. That has curtailed what's happening with that clinic right now, but it is a service that we hope to continue to offer in the near future. We also offer cardiac rehabilitation for those persons who have had any sort of cardiac event. I'll go into that a bit more later when we talk about our group classes, because we do facilitate that through a group class.
Excellent.
Lymphedema is also a service that we provide. I'll ask Virginia to step in.
So lymphedema is a strange word for a lot of people, I'm sure. but it actually impacts quite a large portion of our population.
Okay.
And what it is an abnormal buildup of proteins and fluid into the tissues.
Mm-hmm.
It can be found in the limbs, the trunk, and the face.
Mm-hmm.
At its most extreme stage, it's also known as elephantitis, which many people have probably heard of that. The proteins that build up into the tissues, they act as magnets to the fluid that is passing by in the blood vessels.
Mm-hmm.
So it wants to pull more fluid out into the tissues. So it's a very progressive condition.
Okay.
So this is a condition that you can be born with. It can develop as you age, or it can come on after surgery, trauma, or after certain cancer treatments as well.
Would that be in any way associated with the thyroid at all, or is that something that can operate within its own little realm, the lymph nodes?
Yeah, it's kind of on its own. It's more related to the circulatory system.
Okay.
Very closely related. The biggest difference is I call it our garbage collectors.
Okay.
So it's able to pick up those bigger molecules that our circulatory system can't pick up.
Okay. And stores it, and that's what leads to the actual
right. So
conditions.
It actually breaks those down and actually puts it back into the circulatory system to be processed.
Okay. Interesting.
Thanks, Virginia. So to continue, we also treat tendon injuries. So you're outside on a Sunday and you're cutting your coconut and you chop your hand.
What, have you been watching me in my yard or something?
I'm not going to say.
Okay.
But tendon injuries can be quite traumatic,
Sure.
and
Yes.
it can affect somebody's life if they lose functionality of their hand. And there are specific protocols that the therapist who's working along with the surgeon will go through, as well as designing splints to protect the limb, the tendon while it heals. So we offer that service as well. We also are heavily involved in the management of stroke and other neurological complications, and Stephanie will tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, Stephanie, you're up.
I'm up. All right. So basically, we are trying to take our post-stroke patients from the point of contact, being when they're admitted to the wards and maybe still in CCU. We start our management on day one if their doctors are, if they're clear to start therapy, once they're managed and controlled, blood pressure is controlled, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And we take them right up to the point of discharge when we hope that they're fully functional and back to their life as they knew it before the stroke. With advances in our medical management these days, these patients do really, really well in rehab. We don't get a whole lot of very severe disabilities anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So once we contact them on that day one as an inpatient, we help them with things like, for example, getting them out of bed, helping them to go to the bathroom, walking around a nurse's station, that sort of thing, if they're able to walk.
Of course.
If they're not, we look into things like doing passive range of motion exercises for the limbs just to prevent joint contractures, muscle contractures. If they need splints, that can be facilitated as well, where we facilitate making the splints or sourcing it if we need to. And we take them to the point of a maintenance program. We have a neuro rehab class now, which we run, and that's run once per week. It's an hour long, and it's a group class. So we have persons who have had strokes maybe even 10 years ago, up to somebody who could have had their stroke within the last year. Okay. And it's a really nice atmosphere for these patients because they come in and you can see what level other people are at, how they've progressed over time.
I would imagine, too, that it creates comfort, too, because a lot of times when people experience these things, you feel alienated to a certain extent.
It's devastating, because especially in persons who have had a stroke really young in life, where, you're getting it in middle age, you still have young children, that sort of thing, and now you're at a state where you can't function independently and you need assistance to do things. So it can really be devastating. But to come into that kind of group setting, it's a setting where we facilitate education and exercises just to help promote return to full function for these patients.
Excellent. Well, obviously we have spurred the interest of our listening audience, and I'm advised that we do have a caller online, so we're going to take a caller right now and hear what they want to know or contribute. Thank you for calling Talk Today.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to the panel.
Good afternoon.
This is it. I just tune into you guys. Is this HSA?
Yes, it is.
Yes. You mentioned stroke. When an individual has a stroke and no longer can use both of their legs, and what kind of help is there for them if they doesn't come to the clinic, to the physio room? What do you all offer them at home?
Okay.
Thanks for that question. We do offer community rehab, and that is where we can visit a patient at their home, especially when it's difficult for them to be transported to our clinic, which I should have mentioned this. We are now at Baytown House. That's across from the Wharf restaurant.
Okay. So is there a particular number that this individual, it sounds like our caller is expressing that they're aware of someone who may be in this position and they're wanting to know how to go about getting this assistance. Is there a particular number that they should call?
Yes, certainly. The number for the department is 244-2730.
I need to ask another question.
Sure.
Say, for example, the individual did try a little therapy at HSA, and let's say they got discouraged and they're home and sort of kind of give up to a degree. I watch therapy, year in, year out on the TV and so forth, and they got certain machines that they put these people in and strap their legs up and have them to work with a machine with the therapist alongside of them. Do we have anything like that here for people that has strokes and no longer can walk and still pretty in young age, that degree?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that question as well. That is helping us to highlight some of our equipment that we have at HSA. So yes, we do have, I think you're talking about a hoist, and we do have one of those currently in our department, where yes, that person could be assisted to walk again if that's the case, and if it's something that's within possibility still, because how a stroke operates is that over time, you have a certain window in which you get back a maximum % of your recovery. Not saying that you can't recover any more function thereafter, but you get a bulk of it back within that first year after the stroke. So we're looking at doing, this is why I brought up the neuro rehab class that we run, where we have a nice maintenance program. So somebody that has had a stroke, even say 10 years ago, can still come into this class. We can still facilitate exercises and education for them and their family or caregiver, just to maintain what they have and to help to improve their function as well.
Well, I appreciate all of that. I don't want to say this, that all sounds good and well, but I feel like something more needs to be done, especially those that may not want to come out and they can't carry that type of machine to their residents, but they need to be more encouraged to know that is help there for them. And we will be sending a certain van to pick them up, to bring them down to the hospital to have these things done and so forth. Because then I am learning as I get older that we as senior citizens in this island, we give up too quick. And when I see how the rest of the world is still striving to go here and there, and we just laying here or sitting in a chair, waiting for the good Lord to come and take us. I mean, I know it's more to life than just sitting there, not be able to move if you got all of this machines and
Absolutely.
And health.
Absolutely.
And I think it needs to be looked in more.
Okay.
I thank you so much. I thank you.
You're most welcome. We appreciate your call. We appreciate your input, and there's been a lot of nodding heads around the table, so we will discuss this a little bit more after the break, but we do have to take a break for the news here on Radio Cayman.
You are listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Government reported the results of 379 COVID-19 tests on Friday. All came back negative. So far, more than 93,000 vaccines have been administered locally. Turning to international news now, the discovery of 4 more victims in the rubble of a collapsed Florida condominium building raised the death toll to 32, officials said Tuesday, as a ramped-up search effort faced new threats from severe weather with Tropical Storm Elsa. Lightning forced rescuers to pause their work for 2 hours early Tuesday, Miami-Dade Assistant Fire Chief said, and stiff winds of 20 miles per hour with stronger gusts hampered efforts to move heavy debris with cranes, officials said at a morning news conference. The first waves of arrests in the deadly siege of the U.S. Capitol focused on the easy targets. Dozens in the pro-Trump mob openly bragged about their actions on January 6th on social media and were captured in shocking footage broadcast live by national news outlets. But 6 months after the insurrection, the Justice Department is still hunting for scores of rioters, even as the first of more than 500 people already arrested have pleaded guilty. The struggle reflects the massive scale of the investigation and the grueling work still ahead for authorities in the face of an increasing effort by some Republican lawmakers to rewrite what happened that day. A passenger plane with 28 people on board crashed in Russia's far eastern Kamchatka Peninsula on Tuesday, Russia's aviation agency told CNN. The plane, a Russian-built Antonov 26 twin-engine turboprop, was flying from the regional capital to a village when it missed a scheduled communication and disappeared from radar, according to local emergency and transport officials. Russia's aviation agency told CNN on Tuesday that the wreckage of the plane was found 4 to 5 kilometers from the Polana Airport runway. Those are your latest headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom. I'm Shanda Gallego.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you joining us here on Radio Cayman's Talk Today. I am Michael McLaughlin. I can't even say my own name right. Michael McLaughlin, sitting in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And joining me in studio are representatives of the HSA Therapy Services. I understand that we have stirred the interest of another caller, and they are online. So welcome, caller. Thank you for joining us here on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, sir, and it's nice to hear you guys on the radio and talking about important things.
Good afternoon to you also, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I couldn't help myself. I was down at Office Supply there next to Samboco, at the complex there. And as I come out, there's a little cubicle outside there. I think it used to be a bank
machine. Yes, sir.
Machine in there, but they closed it off, and now they got a thing called the vape, VAPE hut. You know what this vape is? That's like the thing.
Yes, sir.
Get you off the ganja trip or something. And just happened to be reading about this vape thing because I know some people that were doing it, and I talked to them about the danger of that thing. And it seems like nobody is paying attention to a lot of stuff because the different chemicals and stuff that's involved in that. And obviously they must have a license to do this thing, for people to come in there and they can get the vape and just sit down and vape, whatever they call it. And I'm wondering if the HSA has any part in giving a license to that thing because it's dangerous. I mean, if you read about the different chemicals, terrible things can destroy your lungs and all this kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
And it breaks my heart. I don't know what's happening to Cayman.
Okay. Well,
so if somebody there could just answer the question of why, or if they knew,
okay. All right.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. We do appreciate your call.
Bless you.
Okay. Have a wonderful afternoon. I'm not sure that the caller's question falls in the realm of what it is that you are presenting today, and I'm sure that there possibly is some arm of the HSA that can provide the relevant information as the gentleman is asking. But in terms of your representation here today for therapy services, you wanted to expand a little bit more on what it is that you're hoping to educate the public with.
Right. So we have spoken about a few areas, and in continuing, we also provide hydrotherapy, which is water-based therapy. quite often when, for example, a person cannot move their limb on land, the water, because it's a very supportive environment, they can do so. So quite often we can start rehab within a pool and then progress to land-based exercises. We do provide that. As you're sitting there, I noticed that you are leaning over. So one of the services we provide, we could provide
Just for
to
clarification,
you.
she's not talking about me. I'm not leaning. No, yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Right. So a lot of us have office-based jobs or whatever sort of work we do, depending on how our bodies fit into that environment, it can lead to injuries and trauma. Two of the therapists here, both Stephanie and Virginia, are certified ergonomic specialists. So I'll invite the two of you to jump in right now talking about those services that we provide in this area.
Sure. I'll jump in first.
Okay.
So what we offer the service to any type of work. It doesn't matter whether it is desk-related or if it's very manual. We are qualified to go out and assess anybody's work environment.
Okay.
As long as we have permission to be there.
Yeah. So that creates a question. Would an individual or would an employer be the person that would contact you about making that sort of assessment?
It really could go either way.
Okay.
We have had employers come out and ask us to do assessments of certain departments or all of their employees even. So it can come from an individual. It can come from an individual's doctor or from their therapist if they are already in services, or they can request it themselves. So we can go out and do that for anybody. We also offer services where we can do a presentation, and we try to customize that as closely as we can to what our audience's needs are.
Okay.
And more recently, we can provide virtual assessments. Stephanie, you want to jump in?
Yes, so more recently we started doing remote ergonomic assessments. You know, in this environment of COVID that we were in, we're still in a lot of the world, where persons are working from home, and, you know, we were trying to reduce contact time as much as possible. Training opportunity presented, and it was supported by senior management to go out and do this training. So we can now do these assessments remotely.
Okay.
You know, so that's an option that's available as well.
So is this specifically geared towards the workplace? I know it's one of the things that you had mentioned was that it doesn't really matter what type of work it is, but what about individuals who, as you just mentioned, within our current time and space, there are many who are working from home.
Yes.
How does this fall into the spectrum of what you're suggesting?
So basically, it doesn't really matter your location. The point is you're doing work. You know, you're working from home, you're working in your office space, wherever it is that you're working, and you're spending several hours for the day doing your job in that environment. We need to make sure that you are in a safe environment for work and to prevent injury, prevent pain, prevent any kind of disability.
So the next time my wife asks me to do something around the yard, I'm going to call you all, and this is a safe environment for me to be doing.
You know, is it paid work you're doing around the yard?
And as long as you invite us into that scenario.
Okay.
Oh, and she has to give permission as well.
Yeah, great. All right. Well, there goes that idea. Okay. But that's good. I think that's really important because as Miss Raquel pointed out, I was leaning, and I'm sure that is a tendency of many as you are doing things that you don't think about your correct posture positioning so that you are injuring yourself in a form or fashion as you continue to sit in a particular position. And I think that is something that many of us need to recognize. What else is there, Ms.
Right.
Raquel?
So we also offer some alternative treatments, namely acupuncture. Many people have heard of acupuncture, and also cupping.
Okay.
Just a little bit more about acupuncture. It's the insertion of tiny, tiny needles. I'm emphasizing tiny needles into various areas on the body. And some of you may have heard of, meridians and channels in Chinese medicine. We practice a more Western approach where we recognize that insertion of needles at different points can affect the neurophysiology of that individual. So at certain points, it can help to release endorphins, which are our body's own natural pain-relieving substances. For persons who have needle phobia, we can also apply external electrodes to these acupuncture points to get some of the benefits of actually using a needle.
Okay.
We use acupuncture primarily for pain. There are a ton of other things you can use acupuncture for, such as infertility, somebody who's depressed, but our primary focus is in the management of pain. And other musculoskeletal problems. Okay. Cupping also has its origins in Chinese medicine. That is where you use cups on the skin to create a suction effect. And within that area, you have increased blood flow, which can help to bring toxins and other issues within the skin to the surface, so it can be taken away, as well as increasing the blood supply to the area, which is very important in any form of healing.
Absolutely. I've been a recipient of both of those types of therapy.
And you found it beneficial?
I did, absolutely. I've had acupuncture on a number of different occasions with some issues concerning my neck vertebrae and nervous system, and it served to create a difference. The cupping created a different issue, which was me trying to explain why I had hickeys all over my body. That was a little bit different. But that also, interestingly enough, did make a difference with some of it, which I was very skeptical about. What I find interesting, though, is, as you're mentioning, that both of those aspects, if I'm understanding correctly, their origins are in Eastern medicine. But then there's been a transition to the Western culture of utilizing these. What is the significant difference between them? Can you speak to that at all?
Okay, I'll do my best and I'll invite my team to jump in. So I mentioned meridians and yin and yang in Chinese medicine. And in Chinese medicine, it's all about correcting the flow of energy through its channels. In Western medicine, they leave aside all of that, and they are, it's evidence-based, finding how the insertion of needles at particular points in the body, the neurophysiology of it. And I mentioned pain. So, for example, there are particular points when they're stimulating, there is an increase in the amount of chemicals that are released that can control pain. So using that information, we treat conditions. There are certain points, for example, that will decrease stiffness within a limb. So therefore, we use those points to address the musculoskeletal problems that we find when we assess patients. Not so much to say that there's a disturbance in the wind meridian, but to treat. And I'm not saying that that's an incorrect way of saying things. I find these are ancient civilizations, and sometimes Western medicine is just catching up with what they have known for thousands of years.
Those of us who've grown up in the Caribbean, we know that too from all our forefathers and foremothers. They had different means of dealing with things, whether, you drank fever grass tea or whatever it was, to be able to cope with the ailments. We do have a very fascinating topic here, and we do have to take a quick commercial break, but we will be right back. Hope you join us here on Radio Cayman.
When you're tight on time and budget, but big on flavor, Subway's Meal of the Day hits the spot. Enjoy daily meals on classic sandwiches like tuna, Black Forest ham, meatball marinara, and more. Starting at $6.25 for 6-inch meals and $8.75 for footlongs. You can get Subway's Meal of the Day. Enjoy a different sandwich on a different day for the same price. Mix it up with cookies or chips or waffle fries for the same price. Subway. Eat fresh. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. We are a non-for-profit member-centric plan with a democratically elected volunteer board of trustees representing all sectors of the Cayman Islands economy. Chamber Pension has an all-in expense ratio of 0.72% over 16,000 members, $430 million in assets under management. We were the first multi-employer pension plan approved by the regulator in the late 1990s. And today, we are still strong, secure, and are here for employees and employers alike. If you would like to join or request further information, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you.
Do you know that conditions may change suddenly in an emergency and you may have to leave at a moment's notice? When a hurricane threatens, you should have a grab-and-go survival kit. This kit should include your personal identification and other vital documents, which should be sealed in a watertight pouch or container. For more tips and information, visit the Hazard Management Cayman Islands office or caymanprepared.ky. This hurricane tip is brought to you by Hazard Management Cayman Islands and Radio Cayman 89.9 FM.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us here on Radio Cayman. I want to just quickly address, as we are speaking to representatives from the Health Services Authority, the caller earlier had a question about the aspect of vaping and what the possible tie-in is with the Health Services Authority. And the general consensus around the table is that there must be some sort of involvement, but more than likely it is going to be from a public health aspect. So if the caller would care to pursue some more information, the suggestion is to reach out to the Public Health Department for any further information on that subject. But we are speaking about the therapy services that are offered by the Health Services Authority, and we do have the manager for Health Services, Therapy Services, Ms. Raquel Smith, here with us, and also we have Faith Geely and Virginia and Stephanie, who have all been talking to us about the various aspects. Ms. Raquel, you wanted to hit some particular information here as we return.
Yes, thank you. So we're a very busy department. On a monthly basis, we are treating over 600 individual patients.
Every month?
Yes.
Wow.
And for those 600 individual patients, we are providing about 1,500 individual treatment sessions.
Oh, wow.
So we are very busy.
Okay.
But we are thankful that people have confidence in the services we provide.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to share that our staff, they're a very qualified group of people.
Okay.
Within the staff, there are postgraduate certifications in professional wheelchair seating, early childhood intervention, that's the occupational therapy side of things, physiotherapy, we have wound management, hydrotherapy, vestibular rehabilitation.
Hold on a second.
Yes.
Come again?
Vestibular, and that has to that ties in very closely with neurology, because you can have neurological impairments resulting in balance impairments.
Okay.
To put it simply, that's what vestibular problems.
Okay. That's how I would put it. Balance. Vestibular.
Yes, right.
Okay. All right.
I mentioned before that we have several people who are ergonomic assessment specialists, diplomas in football medicine, cupping therapy certification. So I want to share with the audience that you can be fully confident that the service you're receiving in our department, they are evidence-based, and our therapists are operating a very high level of skill and expertise.
It certainly sounds so. And the number that you gave out before, that is the general number for anyone to reach out to the Therapy Services Department, which is 244-2733. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so make sure you make a note of that, folks, as you're listening today, that is the number to call for assistance with regard to the vast array of therapy services that are on offer through the Health Services Authority. And we've spoken about different aspects of virtual assistance to in-home assistance. You mentioned that there's opportunities for folks who are not capable of being transported. At least you can start in that circumstance to see if it can progress, because hopefully that is the case, correct?
Right. We're also expanding out to the districts.
Okay.
At the moment, we operate out of the Bodden Town Clinic 2 days of the week, as well as, and we offer community rehab, home-based therapy throughout the island.
Right. And what about our sister islands? Do we have assistance that is offered to them?
At Faith Hospital, there is a physiotherapist there.
Excellent.
Yes. And you may have heard they have a new and beautiful department.
Indeed.
Yes.
As we continue to progress in life, there are improvements that are being made all the time. So along with all of this, and you have mentioned that you have quite a significant team, 15 physiotherapists, and 2 occupational therapists, and soon to be 3 speech therapists.
That's correct.
I would imagine that with the demands, as you have mentioned, in seeing over 600 patients per month and the 1,500 treatments, easy math tells us that's probably about 2 treatments per individual right off the bat. How have you seen this grow over the years? Is it something that is, increasing exponentially, or is it a slow growth, or what can you tell us about that?
I would have to go with exponentially.
Okay.
Quite often we will add numbers to our therapy group, and we simply can't keep up with the demand on our services, and it obviously falls in line with the population growth that we've experienced in these islands over the last few years.
Okay. Do you feel that there is any area in particular that is driving this growth? I mean, you obviously cover the complete spectrum of therapy services. Is there any particular area that you feel has been a higher contributor than any other?
I know that as our older population, that group is certainly living longer lives, and they want to remain functional and productive. So that is serving to increase the demand of our services. But I think it just has to do with the general population growth, because I think all of our areas are being affected by increased demand. What would you ladies say?
I agree, and I think also the addition of these group classes, because quite a number of them are new over the years that we've added in to facilitate just keeping our patients healthier longer, pretty much, So I mentioned the neuro rehab class before. We also have a back school. So persons who have finished their acute one-on-one sessions with their therapists are transitioned into this program, and they're with us for another 8 weeks of additional education, additional strength training, and so on. We have a Parkinson's class, we have a knee class, we have cardiac rehab class. So we have quite a number of classes as well that is also bringing persons in. So you can look at maybe up to 6 or 8 persons per class that are coming in additional to their one-on-one sessions, as Raquel mentioned.
So what about people who may not have come through the Health Services Authority situation for whatever their condition may be? I don't know, somebody fell down and they strained the ligament in their tendon in their foot because they're trying to get away from a frog. I don't know. And now they are in need of these sorts of treatments. And is it something that I know this is probably outside the scope of what you were just mentioning for the group classes? I'm just thinking about individuals who may be out there that didn't come through health services but could benefit from these group classes. How do they go about becoming involved, or is it? Can you share any more with regard to that?
Okay, certainly. Most of our patients, they do need to be referred by their medical doctor. There
Okay.
are certain conditions that they can self-refer to us for, but bear in mind that with our insurance practices, a person's insurance will only cover treatment once it has been approved or referred by a doctor. And because of that, most persons choose to go through their doctor to receive our services. But there's certainly condition types that they can directly refer to us should they choose, and they can certainly reach out to us at that number that you
same
gave
number,
earlier.
244-2730. Now, we are also being inclusive here, right? It's not just that it can only be through doctor referral. If an individual feels that they could benefit from these services, is it something that, you know, if it's not referred by a doctor, that they could still try to be involved?
They can certainly reach out to us, and we'll assess each individual and then determine the course that they should follow.
I see.
Whether or not they need to reach out to a medical practitioner, or what services we can provide outside of that referral.
Okay, very good. Okay, so we've covered quite a bit here in terms of all of the different aspects. I know that Faith went on a little, I don't know what you would call it, quite an extensive coverage of all of what your department can assist with. Do you want to do a quick recap of what is available through your department or your section of the department?
Sure. So we offer pediatric, so that means for children, and adult speech therapy and occupational therapy. And those services range from developmental disorders to acquired neurogenic disorders, such as stroke or Parkinson's or any type of degenerative disease. And occupational therapy looks at helping people engage in their functional activities of daily living. And so for children, that might look like handwriting, play development. For adults, that might look like self-care, grooming, kind of getting back to their day-to-day life activities. For speech, we do a lot of things in regards to feeding, communication, and that is from birth through end of life. And our speech therapy team is ready and waiting to support you. I do want to just touch on briefly, I think some people think that only people who have Cynical can access services at HSA. I've had people say that I would love to bring my child to you for speech therapy, but we're private. And that is a fallacy. Like, anybody can access services at HSA. It is not only for people who have Cynical. Anybody who wishes to access those services are welcome to do so.
Excellent. I'm glad you brought that up. It's in a way that is part of what I was asking before. I think it's really important that our general listening audience does have that appreciation that it is a wide open opportunity for individuals to be able to utilize these services that are available to them, and in so many different areas and fields that can be beneficial to help with just about anything, from the sounds of it anyway. All of the information that you have covered here today, I'm sure that everybody who has been listening is most appreciative of, and we want to say thank you so much for joining us here today. We certainly are happy to have you and get all the information that you shared with us today. We do appreciate that very much. And reminding folks that the number to call is 244-2730, and that will get you through to the HSA Therapy Services Department, where they will be able to answer your questions and direct you in the appropriate manner so that you can get the assistance that you may need. Thank you, ladies, for joining us here. I want to say
for having us.
You're most welcome, and thank you to our listening audience for joining us. To any callers that we may have not been able to get to, we do apologize for not being able to facilitate this time, but we do appreciate you for joining us here on Radio Cayman's Talk Today. Please make sure to stay tuned for all of your entertainment and news as we continue to deliver it to you here on Radio Cayman.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village. Convenient opening hours, including